CELPIP Reading Part 1 Email Correspondence Tips and Strategies. How to manage time effectively. You have 11 minutes to complete Part 1. Follow a text question method. First, read part of the text, at least one complete paragraph. If paragraphs are long, read about 5 sentences. Next, check questions to see if they relate to what you read. You may not get the correct answer right away, but you can eliminate answers or you can guess some answers. Then read another paragraph or part. Then check the questions again. Then read the final paragraph or part. Then check the answers and make final choices. This part should take you about 8 to 9 minutes. So, to put our guide into practice, here we have a CELPIP practice test. On the left, we have our text, our email. And on the right, we have our answers. The guide we just read was for questions 1 to 6. So first, we should read the first paragraph or scan it. This paragraph looks long, so I would maybe read up to here, scan that, and then check the questions to see which questions could be from the parts that I just read. Okay? We should read the questions very carefully the first time we read them. Maybe some questions could relate. Then we should look at the next part. I see here Blue Oasis. Maybe this question relates from that part. Or sometimes it relates, but it's not the answer exactly. So we should look at the answers though, just to see maybe it's there or not. Then we have another paragraph. It looks long, so I would read maybe about up to here. Read that part and keep in mind the questions. Look again at the questions to see which ones could be related from that part. Then we're looking at the next part and then check the questions again. If you answered some, maybe in here, in this part, it was clearer, maybe. Then we can look at the last part and we'll look at the questions and make some final choices according to what we read. Again, that is how we want to manage time effectively. Text, questions, text, questions. Very good. Now, for the response email, follow a sentence by sentence method. This means that you should read each sentence until one question and some of the next sentence after the question. This will help you understand the specific context of the sentence, which is very important, and you can answer the question better. This part should take you about 2 to 3 minutes. Lastly, please make sure to have everything answered by 30 seconds. Remember, the computer stops automatically and you cannot answer anymore when the time is complete. So, by 30 seconds, make sure to have everything answered. Looking here at our sample test, and now we're moving on to the response email. We have here at the top of the right column questions 1 to 6, which connect directly to the email message on the left. Now, at the bottom, we have the response message, and it's a response email to this email. So, what we need to do very carefully, according to our guide, we should read sentence by sentence and maybe even a little more. This part right here, we need to read it very carefully to understand the context. Then we should look at the answers and we should see which one of these answers connects best to the original email. And then we can move on and read the next part like this. Understanding that context clearly and looking at the answers to see which answer connects to the email. And then also, then we can move on to the next question like this. And the next question as well. We need to understand sentence by sentence. That's the important part. And then you see here, my time is winding down. I'm at 30 seconds. So at this time, I should check all my answers, make sure that I have something there. And if I don't have something, I need to put my answers because when the time goes down to 0, the computer will stop. In this example, because it's a practice email, it didn't stop or it didn't change, but in the real exam, it will. How to read the text. Read in full sentence mode, not vocabulary mode. This will help you read faster because you're not focusing on vocabulary. You only need to focus on vocabulary when it's related to a specific question. This means while you read, your focus should be on understanding ideas and meaning more than specific words. Read and repeat main ideas in your mind. This will help you keep the information. Often, students struggle to keep information while they read. For that reason, after each sentence, you should repeat something from what you just read. Or you can take notes. You will be given a notepad. Lastly, do not try to understand everything. Remember, it's not important to understand every part of the text. It is better to scan everything and focus on finishing everything. Most likely, you don't need to get CLB 12, so not everything is important. Most of all, overthinking wastes time, so you should try to finish on time. So, to put into practice what we just heard, here we should try to read one sentence. It says here, or scan or read. So we know from this sentence here, it's about a reservation. Then we go to the next sentence. And here it says something about Christmas holidays and rebooking, or you booked. So again, while you read this sentence here, we should try to get the idea, not what is regret. If you start to think about what is regret, you're wasting time. This is what it's trying to tell us here. Then maybe when we look at the question and we see here we have some words, maybe here we can look for these words more clearly. But while we read sentences, we should try to get the idea, not specific vocabulary from what we read, until it's related to each question. What information to focus on the most? Context more than specific information. You must understand the meaning of the email. This means the overall message of the email will help you answer questions more easily than specific vocabulary. For example, if the email is a thank you one or a complaint, answers could be related to this style. Tense will help you understand the context more clearly. Focus on past, present, and future events to understand the needs of the writer and recipient more clearly. Focus on modalities: could, should, would, have to, etc. to understand needs, requests, necessities, and possibilities more clearly. Lastly, read between the lines. This means ideas may not be clearly stated literally from word to word or sentence to sentence, but they are suggested. A clear example of this is read between the lines. This expression suggests that you need to understand the meaning which the sentences are not saying clearly, but they are suggesting. This is more important for higher levels. However, meaning will help all levels comprehend better. Looking at our example here, what we should try to do is understand completely after we read the email or scan it. We should get an idea of what the overall message of the email is. What kind? And we can see there's even question number 1 here. It says, what kind of letter is this? That's what we need to try and understand. Similarly, some of these questions will be related to the overall message. Then also, we should understand the tense. Is this situation in the past? Is it in the present? I see here that it's about a booking which was made. So it was in the past. And I see over here that there's an offer for the future. So that's important. As well, we should understand what the writer is suggesting. That's what it means about read between the lines. What is the writer suggesting? More than specific information. Responding the questions 1 to 6. Connect the key words of the question to the text. Make sure to understand who is the writer and the receiver to better comprehend the questions. Rephrase into a question if the questions are statements. This will help you understand the question better. The answers may not be in order. Often, the question answers could be located throughout the text, especially when the questions are related to the writer or the receiver. In this case, you will have to focus more on the answer choices. 2 or 3 questions could be about the overall meaning or context of the email, so not about exactly one part. Eliminate wrong answers. Finding which answers are wrong is as important as finding the correct answer. Usually, 2 answers are very wrong because they do not connect well. For the remaining answers, look closely at what is the main difference between the answers to better select the correct one. Looking at our sample, and we're focusing in on the questions. So the key words are important. What kind of letter? Mr. Cavalli, the Blue Oasis, Seaside Escape, Children Will Enjoy, $450. Yes, those words can connect us better. For example, I see the Seaside Escape. I see here Seaside Escape. Children Will Enjoy. I see here Family with Kids. Um, the Blue Oasis is right over here. And I see in the opening paragraph Blue Oasis, $450. And oh, we can see down here $450. So we can connect very easily by focusing on the keywords. But of course, that's not completely will give us the answer exactly there. Who is Mr. Cavalli, for example? Mr. Cavalli is the writer. So this whole email could be about him. Also, what kind of letter is this? The whole email can give you some idea. And then, of course, it does say 2 answers maybe are very wrong. So you need to decide not A, maybe, not D. Okay, so choose which answers are very wrong and focus in on what is different between them. Okay? Selecting the answers. Focus on grammar. Often answers are confused by providing similar ideas but not the correct grammar tense, present, past, future, or present perfect. So we should be clear about the correct tense. Modals can confuse answers even more. Could, may, might, should, would, have to, need to, and must. Modals usually suggest an idea, so focus on what is suggested. Focus on opposite ideas. Often, answers are confused by providing similar ideas to the text, but for opposite people or opposite ideas. So make sure to focus on opposites. Focus on vocabulary association. Often, answers are confused by providing similar ideas to the reading, but don't connect to the question or have different meanings. Answers can have synonyms to the reading, so try to think of similar words. Focus on meaning. Some answers require understanding of the complete context of the email, more than just specific information. So, we should understand what the writer is suggesting throughout the email. Sometimes sentences can mean more than just words they use. For example, expressions, idioms, and slang. So, meaning is very important. Looking at our example more closely, specifically the answers. So I can see here that we have lots of vocabulary, and here is where most students will make the mistakes because some of this vocabulary it's mentioned in the reading here. Okay, for example, what the children will enjoy talks about shopping, talks about swimming, it talks about game playing. Right over here I see screen TV, entertainment, there's gourmet kitchen, right? So understanding what the question is asking, connecting to the area, and understanding the vocabulary differences will make us select the best answer. Also, all the email, right? This answer here will be about the whole email, understanding the kind of email it is to select the better choice. So, vocabulary and the overall context are most important. Answering the response email, questions 7 to 11. Read sentence by sentence. We need to understand the context of each sentence to understand the connection to the email better. Keep in mind the characters have changed. You could read the next sentence for more connection and understand the context more is more important. All choices are possible, but only one connects. The choices are all possible because they were all written in the main email. Keep in mind that the characters have changed. Often, the information is reversed for the characters to confuse the content. Eliminate wrong answers. Finding which answers are the wrong ones is as important as finding the correct one. Usually, two answers are very wrong because they do not connect well. For the remaining answers, look more closely at what is different between the answers to better select the correct one. So, looking at our example, and we're now looking at the response message over here. And it's questions 7 to 11. So first, it's very important to understand that the characters have changed. So in the email, it was Sandro Cavalli writing to Mrs. Smith. In the response message, it's Mrs. Smith writing to Mr. Cavalli. So that's very important to keep in mind because it will help us understand the context of this response message more clearly. Next, it's very important to read sentence by sentence. Sometimes one sentence can have two questions, like here. So if we can understand clearly the context of the sentence, then we can understand the answers better. Also, vocabulary association is important because these words, they may all be mentioned over here. Same like all these ideas or words. So keep that in mind. And eliminating wrong answers. Two of these answers may be very wrong. So focus more clearly on the remaining ones. That is the end of reading part 1, Email Correspondence, Tips and Strategies.